it's Victoria from victoriamakes. Hope everybody's all well. I've got quite a lot of leftovers from Christmas and New Year vegetables, in particular sprouting potatoes. So I'm going to use some up in some dishes today because I hate food waste, of course. Inspired by one of my books that I have got, which is by Chetna Macon. She was the Great British Bake Off lady, and I think she reached the semi-finalists, and I got her book when I was in Oxfam and they were promoting it. I think it was about a year and a half ago, something like that. It's a really nice book, inspired by beautiful Indian herbs and spices and lovely recipes. And I looked in here and I saw a recipe, and it's called Savoury Potato Courone, which is Courone. And it's like a potato bread with spices in it. Now, this one serves 8 people. It's 375 grams of strong white flour, bread flour, salt, fast dried action yeast, butter, an egg, warm milk. So I'm going to use 375 grams of the flour, 10 grams of the dried yeast, 5 grams of salt, 75 grams of unsalted butter softened, 2 eggs lightly beaten, 200 ml of warm milk or equivalent. You use soy milk or almond milk or oat milk, etc. Oil for greasing, 600 grams of potatoes, which will be boiled for 20 minutes until cooked, and when cool enough to handle, grated up. And she does put down also a 1/4 teaspoon of mango powder, which I haven't got, 3 handfuls of fresh coriander leaves chopped, and 2 tablespoons of chili and garlic chutney, which I haven't got. So I will improvise with some spices, and I'll put some nice Indian spices in that, and a little bit of chili and things like that. Lots of garlic as well. So it's going to be like a potato bread but with a bit of Indian spice. So use what you have, otherwise, you know, go out and buy mango powder, which is called Amchur, AMCHUR. Okay, so you can get the recipe from this book, which is called The Cardamom Trail, and it's a lovely book. And also Chetna Macon has a YouTube channel, so check that out as well. But that's what I've been inspired for, to make potato bread today with a nice spice. And to go alongside that, I thought I'd do a Saag Aloo, potato Saag Aloo, which again is another Indian sort of easy, quick potato curry. Out of another one of my books, which is Saved with Jamie Oliver, there is a nice recipe in here called My Saag Aloo, and he uses to serve 6 people 1 onion, 2 ripe tomatoes, half a bunch of fresh coriander, 2 heaped tablespoons of Rogan Gosh curry paste, and I will use a little bit of oil and curry powder and garam masala, and I will sweat that down, some crushed garlic in there as an alternative, but you can use curry paste if you wish for quickness. Groundnut oil, 1.2 kilograms of potatoes, and they'll be chopped, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 red chilli, 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, 300 grams of frozen spinach, 6 teaspoons of fat-free natural yogurt. And basically he's saying blitz it all in a food processor with the tomatoes, coriander stalks and curry paste. After it's combined, then spoon into a large non-stick frying pan with a lug of oil. Cook for 5 minutes, stirring regularly, while you cook the potatoes into about 3 centimetre chunks. Add them to the pan and a pinch of salt and pepper, and pour enough water to bring it up to the boil, but only halfway. Cover the potatoes, don't cover them complete with water. And then pop the lid on and steam it and simmer it for about 12 minutes until they're cooked through. Remove the lid and turn the heat high to a medium height until the liquid cooks away and potatoes start to get crispy and golden. It takes about 20 minutes that. Meanwhile, to make the flavoured oil, which brings the Saag Aloo alive, peel the garlic and finely slice with the chilli, place in a small pan and fry with the cumin seeds and a good lug of oil until nicely golden, then take off the heat. When the potatoes are looking good, stir the spinach into the pan and cook down for another 5 minutes. until that liquid has evaporated. And then to serve the saag aloo, drizzle it with that lovely oil, dolloped with fresh yoghurt and chopped coriander leaves on the top. And then that will be really nice with some pita bread, or he's popped spoonfuls of it in lettuce leaves. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do. But I thought these two recipes are a great way of using up some of the potatoes. They'll complement each other. So we will have it for tea, the saag aloo with this potato bread as well, and maybe probably put some yogurt with a little bit of mint sauce and cucumber in it, and also some mango chutney as well, so that'll make it nice. So in a pan I pop the potatoes for the savoury potato curry to boil for 20 minutes. Meanwhile I'm going to weigh out my bread flour and get the yeast in and get that all mixed up. In this mixing bowl I've put 375 grams of strong wholemeal flour, because that's all we've got left at the moment, and I've put 2 eggs, and I've put 75 grams of butter, and I'm just putting 200 grams of warm milk in there, and I'm going to mix it all together, and I've got 5 grams of salt as well, and I'm going to mix it all together, and I'm going to knead it for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, and then we will let it rise. Cover it over and let it rise for about an hour, so the dough, and hopefully it'll have doubled in size by then. So in the pan I've put the chopped onions, I've put curry powder in, a tablespoon, and a tablespoon of garam masala, and I've put a good pinch and a half of black pepper, ground pepper, and I've put 1 chopped chilli and 4 cloves of garlic, and about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to just pan fry this now so it softens all the onions. Right, so when the actual onions have sweated down with your curry paste or your curry and your garam masala and your garlic with the oil, then you want to put all the potatoes into the pan, nicely chopped up. So when you've added the potatoes, cover it about half of it with water, and then bring it to the boil and cook it down for about 15 to 20 minutes. Cover it with a lid. We'll come back and have a little look at it. Right, so I've done the potatoes. That's what they're looking like at the moment. This is what in Jamie's book that they look like at the end. So we need that sort of flavoured oil, don't we? And the coriander on the top. So I'm going to leave that until later, because I'm going to prepare the bread now again. It's risen beautifully, so I'm going to show you the bread. So I've had that for about an hour rising, and it's more than doubled in size. So what we need to do now is knock that back just a little bit, roll it out by rolling it out, and then we spread the potato mixture with all the coriander and your mango and your chutney on as well. So the next stage says, once the dough is ready, roll it out on a lightly floured surface into a rectangle, roughly measuring 50 centimetres by 38 centimetres, keeping one of the long edges near you, which is parallel to the edge of the work surface. Spread the chutney evenly over the dough. On top of that, evenly spread the potato mixture. Roll up the dough like a sausage roll from the long edge nearest to you. Then cut it in half lengthwise, leaving the 2 lengths just joined at one end. Twist the 2 dough lengths together around each other, then bring the twist together in a circle and join the loose ends. Transfer to a lightly floured baking tray, put the tray in a clean plastic bag and prove again for another 1 hour. So let's get our dough rolled out. Right, so using a very large chopping board, I've rolled it out to the size of the chopping board really, and it said to cut it in half lengthwise, so we'll go roughly down what looks like to be the centre with the knife and cut it like so. Right, I've made a mistake because I've chopped it in half already, where you should have just had it as one whole piece and then put the filling on and then rolled it. So don't do that when you do it, chop it after, but I'm going to have to do it now in 2 halves. It's going to taste the same at the end. Right, so it says use 2 tablespoons of chutney, so you don't put much on. You just literally put a little bit on. Suppose it just wants a bit of sweetness as well, doesn't it? I've got roughly about that left with this chutney, so I'll just put a little bit in. And don't go, you know, buying it on purpose. Just see what you've got in. It did say chilli and garlic chutney, you know, but chutney is chutney. You can use whatever you've got. And I'll just put some chilli powder on as well. And if you want to add more heat to it. Right, the next thing is to put the potato mixture on as well. So I must put half on each part. Divide it in half, the mixture. Try to equally divide it up as you go along. I'm thinking because of all the sweetness of the chilli and the vinaigrette, I think I'll just put a little bit more salt in as well before I roll it up. Mix it all over it. I'd leave the edges free. Just fluff it down with the edge of a fork. Probably going to be a bit like a paraffin this. I don't know if, you know, if you've had them, although they are fried, but it's still a bread product, isn't it? If you've ever had an Indian paraffin. A little bit more sprinkling of salt. And I do like coriander and flat leaf parsley. We'll put some more chopped parsley and coriander on. Right, so now comes the rolling up part, and you're keeping the very long edge is the bit that you roll up like a Swiss roll. Okay, so carefully roll it over away from yourself. And then the next one, to do the weavy side first, so that you get the straight side at the end. Hope you can see this, guys, and it's obvious what I'm doing. Okay, and then what I do is try and nip the ends together with my fingers. I've got coriander now under my nail. Just nip it together like you would a pasty. So we've rolled up the dough like a Swiss roll, and you'll have one very, very big one. And then what you need to do, so roll up the dough like a Swiss roll from the long edge nearest to you. So you've got one big sausage roll, then you've got to cut it in half lengthwise, and you'd leave the two lengths just joined at one end. Twist the two dough lengths together around each other, then bring the twist together in a circle and join the loose ends. So what I'm going to do is try and just twist it, flat it. Okay, and then bring it back on itself like so, and hopefully it should be something like that. And what we need to do is make sure those ends are lovely and together. You can do it neater than that, do it, but that's kind of what we've got. I hope you can see. Okay, it's like a bit like a plait, isn't it? Okay. Then we need to transfer that on a highly floured baking tray and leave it to cool for a further hour until it's doubled in size. I'm going to cover that with my tin foil, place it somewhere warm, and then in 1 hour we're going to put it in the oven on number 200 degrees centigrade, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, gas mark 6. Baking it for 40 minutes, leaving it to rest for 15, and that is best eaten on the day it's made. If you've got some left over, leave it covered in a cool place and consume it the next day. And I'll show you when that comes out of the oven next what it looks like. I'm just going to serve alongside this some chicken. This is frozen chicken that I've sprinkled with tikka masala spice and a garlic and ginger frozen portion to give it a nice taste. And I put a bit of water in it and then cook that off in the oven, gas mark 7 for an hour. I've also just put one of these ginger and garlic frozen portions into the Saag Aloo, and I've put the spinach in now. I've used 300 grams of frozen spinach and just let that sort of defrost in the warm potato now, and then we'll heat that up when it's tea time. So this is the potato bread, which is lovely, and then I've served the Saag Aloo with some griddled baked chickpeas and spicy oven baked broccoli and chickpeas, a little bit of chicken breast and the Saag Aloo as well. And I'm serving it alongside some more chutney, a few pickled olives and red onions, salad and yoghurt. So I hope you'll try this recipe, guys, because it is really tasty, spicy, and you can have it as a meal on its own, the Saag Aloo, or the bread with it alongside a normal standard curry. And it's a great way of using up your leftover potatoes and vegetables. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll hit the subscribe or like button, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye for now.